Hey everybody, this is Perch. Okay, we've reached it. It is the end. It is the end of Ten of Swords. This is destruction number one. It's destruction number one of all the ones. There won't be another one. And we had three of these issues. We had creation, we had stasis, and then destruction. So will we get a lot of destruction? All I know is in terms of hits and popularity for this channel, it has certainly been destruction for me as when I started the House of X Powers of 10 reviews, I remember those things would be like 3,000 views within an hour, just super popular. And it is an indication of how things have changed. But I don't know. As I look back on it now, clearly I made some kind of mistake. If only there was somebody around to kind of let me know in the future when I'm taking the wrong path.
And Uncle Roger know you fucked up.
Yeah, something like that. At any rate, this is Ten of Swords Destruction. This is Jonathan Hickman, Teeny Howard, kind of wrapping this thing up. Pepe Larraz, who does a great job with the art. And shout out goes to Marte Garcia. Sorry, I had trouble getting that out. But Marte Garcia, who did a wonderful job with the coloring, and by and large, some really nice stuff in here in terms of the art. Anyway, we get right into our comic. If you've been following along to this point, all seems lost. The forces of Krakoa are being overrun by the forces of Amaneth and Araco, and they're surrounded. Death is sure to follow. Saturnine, meanwhile, has been drinking some wine, and she has come to a shocking revelation. The future of the Captain Britain Corps are really going to center around Betsy. Not Captain Britain as she was hoping to assemble, but this is what happens when you do puzzles when you're drunk. Bad things happen. Anyway, we get to a kind of list of what's going on with the champions. And we have the White Sword of the Ivory Spire as crossed out, but he just walked away from the battle. He's not dead. It isn't. They've updated this a little bit, so Death is dead. Okay, that's good. And Solemn has now just got a question mark on him. I mean, again, the person who was doing this data sheet needs a good smack upside the head because it's been quite random and often inaccurate. But regardless. So we're off in the Starlight Citadel, and old Saturnine is getting over her disappointment. And she draws some more cards because somebody went way too into how much tarot. I don't know. What's become clear is that and this is Teeny Howard, I believe, really loves tarot cards, and she likes doing tarot readings, and it's a really big part of her life. Has she been able to communicate that same love to the readers? Maybe not, but okay. She draws a card, which is the wand or the Wheel of Fortune. And Pat Sajak comes raining down out. No, sorry, the Captain Britain Corps, which is now kind of reimagined to be a lot of clones of Betsy. We've got a dude with a big pink beard, and there's like little touches. But the Captain Britain Corps descend. Brian sees it coming, and the Captain Britain Corps has been restored. So this is big news, although in fairness, nothing in this event really did a good job of highlighting the fact that Saturnine and her empire had this exposure of the multiverse Captain Britain Corps being gone. If you've been reading along in Excalibur, you know this has been a simmering plot point, but this is meant to be a very big moment. Some people are speculating that we're going to get a Captain Britain Corps comic, and why not? I mean, there are not nearly enough X-Men titles out there, and so there's room for one more, sure. But anyway, they all come down, and they basically, I would say, don't turn the tide of anything. They show up, and some heads get chopped off, and then the war decides to start summoning giant Cronenberg monsters out of this portal. And so some of the other members who weren't fighters during the tournament show up, and they're riding these monsters, and the summoners, black and white and male and female versions, all kind of show up, and giant monsters start pouring out of this portal. So this is some bad news. And Annihilation shows some crazy vine powers. So they're pulling Apocalypse down into the ground, and just as things seem lost again, Cyclops communicates with magic, and it's like, oh, kick open the door for us. She opens up one of her portals, which she can do to other world, and she opens up a big ass portal, and the entire sword space station comes through it into Otherworld and very threateningly points down at Saturnine who is not surprised by this event. But out of this, the sword station pours like all the X-Men, or most of them. So we see just a variety of people, from Forge to Gwenpool to Dupe to Dakin, all the Marauders there, Armor's there, Jean Grey, Archangel. All the X-Men come pouring out of this portal, which is a little weird, because if you read 2 issues ago with the whole discussion around the Quiet Council, it wasn't clear that they were going to pour all the X-Men in on this in a bid. It seems like that wouldn't have been what I don't know. It seems like that wouldn't have been what they wanted to have happen, but apparently that is what's happened. So this is a weird plot point, and why the X-Men would pick this moment. I mean, this doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but that's okay. They join the fight. And there's battles everywhere, and meanwhile, Apocalypse and Annihilation are stabbing themselves. She's stabbing him with a knife, and he's basically saying, "I can heal the breach. I am going to do it." He almost gets through, but Annihilation won't let it happen. He's like, "Nope," and they summon an even bigger portal. So it's the battle of monsters coming out of portals. So they summon a bigger portal, and more giant wormy tubey monsters come pouring out of that. And it's super bad news. They are clearly overwhelmed. Saturnine reminds Cable that she gave him the Fool card, and that maybe he should look at his sword differently. And he remembers back to the earlier chapter in Cable where the sword was a key, and he's like, "Oh yeah." And so he asks for an Uber to get him into the sword station, and he uses his key to open up this ball. So this is where, if you remember back, and a lot of people, I think, didn't, at least judging from some of the earlier numbers, didn't get this issue. For whatever reason, you're collecting this entire event, but you didn't get this issue where they were up in the sword station. It seemed completely irrelevant to the comic, but what was being revealed there was the McGuffin that's going to turn this entire thing around. So he uses his key, he unlocks this gate that was aboard the sword station, and outpours the zombie alien monsters that were a threat that kind of was revealed in that comic. So out comes all these alien kind of zombie creatures, and there's legion of those. And they basically, Magic uses her teleportation to kind of direct this legion of alien zombies at the summoners and at the forces of Amanith, and they are ready to just chow down. So basically now the alien zombie creatures are attacking the Amanith forces, and they're going back and forth, and there's even more chaos. And Apocalypse uses this moment to grab Annihilation, his wife, and pull the mask off, rips it off the face, and everybody suddenly turns around. It's a moment, a pause in the battle. Even the zombie aliens turn around to see what's going on, and Apocalypse puts the Annihilation helmet on himself, and he is remade Apocalypse Annihilation, the end of all things. So this is bad news. Now he's got the case. The battle kind of continues with X-Men, and all places are going everywhere. The aliens from the other dimension are destroying Otherworld and Araco and Amanith, and everybody's fighting everybody. And Apocalypse knows what he has to do. He has a brief kind of inner monologue battle with the demon, the elder god Annihilation, and he knows the only way to win is to actually surrender. So this is slowly this dawns on everybody. Iska the Unbeaten gets a palette swap, kind of like a Mortal Kombat character, when they want to have another one. So she flips her colors, red and gold, the other way around. She is better at red, more red than gold. This new look looks kind of silly, but that's okay. So anyway, she suddenly flips, which indicates that the forces of Amanith realize they can't win. That because Iska the Unbeaten has turned, it means that their cause is futile. And Apocalypse strides up to Saturnine and says he surrenders. He does what needs to be done. He surrenders. And that breaks the magic of this elder god. Saturnine hops on Jubilee's baby, who's a dragon, and uses the reality destroying fire to dispose of all the players they no longer need, which appears to be all the demon forces of Amanith and the zombie creatures from space. It's not unclear whether they're dead or whether they're just being sucked into some other dimension or what's going on. So maybe in the future, the alien zombie horde and the Amanith demon horde can kind of join forces and we can go through all this again. Who knows? But Saturnine comes down and basically says, all right, you've surrendered to me and you're winning this fight by choosing not to fight. So Saturnine takes off the Elder God Annihilation mask and she uses some super duper magic and turns it into a nice little staff and hands this to Genesis and say, here you go, here's some wardrobe for you, and she says, okay, the winner of this contest between Earth, Krakoa, and Araku is Otherworld. She declares kind of herself and her realm the winner. She says that Krakoa has survived, so they get like that second place, and Araku yields. And but she's still kind of pissed off, so she insists that they pull a High Father and Dark Side, and they get one mutant from each side has to leave, and as a show of good faith has to go live with the other side. So Lady Genesis says that she picks Apocalypse, that she would to reunite their love and their self. So Apocalypse goes to join Amanith, and meanwhile, Apocalypse speaks on behalf of the Krakoa mutants and says that he picks the mutant island of Araku. Basically, he chooses that the island itself gets reunited with Krakoa, but in doing so, there are millions of mutant prisoners on Araku that now will fuse with Krakoa. So basically, it adds millions of additional mutants to Krakoa, which I'm sure will play out in 8,000 new comics. No, I'm just kidding. But anyway, so that's how it all kind of wraps out. Now, it's Apocalypse joining his wife and the other horsemen, the surviving members, not Death, but the others, walk off into the sunset to head back to Amanith. Although it's a little unclear where they're going, they're heading off to do something. And Apocalypse does say, I'll see Professor X and the Council again, but he heads off to spend time with his family. But since Araku, the island, is now fused with Krakoa, I'm not sure exactly where they're going, but that's okay. They're going off somewhere. We get a couple data sheets telling us where the swords have gone. This is the swords had almost zero meaning to this event, so we get 2 nice pages of swords, which is almost the same amount of pages that the swords actually were used in the event. So there's that. And then we get a little data sheet talking about the Captain Britain Corps and how they've reformed. We haven't seen Betsy Braddock yet, but of course she has it's been restored to the former glory again as underneath Betsy Braddock, who firmly is that role. So Saturnine is having a little conversation at the end with her page, with Ryle, and basically notes that she saw this, she knew that this was always going to happen, that there certainly was an amount of randomness, but she foretold all of this, or most of it. She foretold that, Jubilee would get reunited eventually with her dragon kid, that the Sword space station would become more prominent, that Storm would go and give the knife back to T'Challa and to Wakanda, and that the Quiet Council would be broken. Although why it's broken, it's unclear, because now the mutants are all coming back with more mutants. So are Cyclops and are they off the council now? It's weird. That is all quite strange. We see a brief bit of Solemn sneaking around. He'll undoubtedly show up in Wolverine, where he gets to team up with Cypher to form the Adamantium Skin Brothers. There's some bragging about how the Crooked Market is going to get some new treasures from Blightspoke, and the Summoners can kind of chart that all out. And then we do catch in on Death, who is going to be leading the lands of Sevalith, where he was killed by vampires. So maybe he's Vampire Death now. It's unclear. So Betsy looks over a kingdom. She's happy. Things have worked out more or less just the way she hoped, except she did not get the thing she truly wanted, which was Brian and returning to that romance, which was a bit in the Captain Britain comic. So this whole event overall. So that's where we end, and we do get a tease for more. Now that this event is over, we're heading for Reign of X, which will be the new banner taking over from Dawn of X with new X-Men titles and new events and new things. And I'll do a video of that in a minute. So long as we're going in on X-Men, we might as well go all in. But overall, what have we learned here? Well, again, your liking or hating of this event really hinges upon, did you like kind of the old Captain Britain Excalibur comics, and were you okay when this event took a kind of somewhat of a left turn to be a more jokey, a more humor-filled, and certainly more magic-based event? So if you've been reading Excalibur, if you're a really big fan of Teenie Howard, then this is probably all good for you. If you've been a fan of what Hickman has done with the X-Men, you may be more hot and cold on this entire thing, and you may be getting a little bit frustrated at this point as storylines and things seem to keep spinning their wheels. And if you are a classic X-Men fan, you may not be getting anything you want. So that's kind of how it breaks down. That's if it's for you. But anyway, I will now take a break again from doing this these event things. No, I'm not going in and doing King in Black. No, no. But we'll see what happens next. Did you like this series? Did you like this issue? It didn't. I don't want to say it. It's not like it failed the ending. It gave us the ending that the series was clearly leading to, but it's not the ending maybe people wanted. It wasn't the event that a lot of people thought they were getting, and so your ability to love it or hate it really depends on how much you are happy with your expectations getting defied. So maybe that's good, maybe it's bad. Let me know in the comments below. Like, subscribe, click the bell for notifications. Hey, thank you for everybody who's joined the channel lately. I appreciate it. Love it, hate it. It's all up to you at the end of the day. So thanks for listening.